Today we're bringing you our review of the Charge City e-bike. It is an incredible e-bike for the city, and they've thought about everything. Keep watching our Charge City e-bike review to find out who we think this bike is best for. You very well might be surprised. Let me just tell you this up front about this bike. It does not have the most features, it does not have the fastest speed, the lightest weight, or anything like that, but they thought about everything. Now, before I show you exactly what they thought so much and so hard about, let me talk about the basics of this bike. It's about 45 pounds, which is really light for an e-bike, with the battery, fully configured. Comes with this rear rack, comes with a thumb throttle. I'll talk about that more here in just a second. It's got a range of about 50 miles or so, a top speed of 20 miles an hour. It's got a 7-speed Revo shift from Shimano, if I'm saying that correctly. But that's about where the basics end on this. They thought about everything on this bike. Let's talk about the best parts of this bike, the parts that they thought about more than anyone else that I've ever seen with an e-bike. Starting with assembly. This e-bike is the easiest bike that I have assembled, and I've assembled a lot of e-bikes. Now, I usually don't highlight assembly because it's usually a giant pain, but this is another area where Charge e-bikes has really thought about everything. In fact, you can put together one of their e-bikes in 4 steps. Step 1, remove the box. It has a super innovative box design where it just slides right out of the box. It's really pretty cool. I've never talked about an e-bike box before. Step 2, just put in the front wheel. Now, this is always a little bit of a tricky part when putting together any wheel. It just has to be lined up perfectly on that disc brake. But guess what I said after I put this wheel on? It took me a couple tries, but here's what I said. Whoa, really? That's in there? That is amazing. Kickstand out. Whoa, that is by far the quickest I has ever gone. Check out these pedals. They actually flop down. So I'll show you how this works here in just a second, but this is how they fold flat. Pretty slick. This side does it as well. Pretty cool, huh? That's pretty sweet. And step 4, just adjust the seat height so you have proper leg extension when you're riding the bike. Well, I guess really 5 steps, because you've got to go take any new e-bike out for a ride as soon as you put together and just enjoy the moment. And by the way, I also saw this really cool rainbow on one of my first rides on it. Pretty cool, huh? I usually don't talk about assembly that much, but it's so easy to put together this bike. I had to talk about it here, and it's one of the things that makes Charge e-bikes very different than the others. It's super easy. Some of the other e-bikes we've tested out have 45 plus steps if you count every single one. Now granted, there's a little bit more than 4 if you look in the instructions in detail, but this is a huge differentiator. It's incredibly easy to assemble this e-bike. Another thing I want to show you that is very well thought out on this bike, and that is this display. It's a pretty basic looking display actually, but it actually will show you the range of how long you have left on this battery. Like for example, right now, let's see, it says I have a range of 22 miles. It's about half full. I was riding this around yesterday, filming some footage, and it's half full. The other part of this e-bike that's incredibly well thought out are these little guys right here. I'll zoom in here and you can see exactly what you're looking at. These actually says that these tires need to be inflated a little bit because it's red. Let's check out this one. This one also says that it needs a little bit of air too. Really easy to see if you need air in the tires. Another killer feature of this e-bike is how you can easily adjust the handlebars to turn in, and even the pedals safely adjust up so you can store it in a much smaller space, which is awesome. Now at $16.99, this is an incredible value of an e-bike for the right person, and I'm gonna explain who that is at the very ending here. But there's a couple of features that are not as heavy duty on some other bikes that you would find that we reviewed, like the Rad Rover 5. The first thing you'll notice is there's no front suspension. This e-bike is called the City, and guess what? It's made for the city. The motor on it is a Bafang. I don't know if I ever say any of these words right. 250 watt motor. It's not the most powerful motor, but it gets you going up to 20 miles an hour really pretty quickly. Does come with this rear rack, which is awesome. Has a really nice bright light up front. The rear light here, actually, on a lot of e-bikes today, when you hit the brakes, they get brighter, but the light on this one just stays red. Not a deal killer, but a little bit of a different thing. One other small thing that I don't care for in this e-bike is the thumb throttle. The thumb throttle is fine, there's nothing wrong with it. Most throttles are actually right here and you can twist it and get going. This one you have to push this button. I don't know why I don't like it, there's nothing wrong with it. To me it just feels a little bit cheaper. Once again, not a deal breaker, but something that I wish it had a twist throttle. I'd imagine the twist throttles are also just a little bit more expensive. You can't stop go from a dead stop and hit the throttle and let go. All the other e-bikes we've tested, you have been able to do that. And I'm sure that's just to save on wear and tear of the motor, but you have to get the bike going just a little tiny bit. If you didn't know that was something that was unusual, it probably wouldn't bug you like it bugged me, but I got stuck behind a cop actually when I was testing out this bike, and I was like, oh shoot, I need to go. And I couldn't because I was just depending on the throttle and I just wasn't expecting it. But as long as you know that, it's not that big of a deal. Another really small pet peeve for me is the kickstand, because as you can see here, if I'm backing it out, it actually hits up against the kickstand. So then I gotta kind of like go forward a little bit and then like put it back and it's still stuck. And that's a little pet peeve of mine, but not the biggest deal in the world. Okay, now who is this bike best for? This bike is probably not for me because I live in a little bit of suburbia. I like to take the kids with me, but it's perfect for anyone that needs to commute with an e-bike, or better yet, a college student. I actually drove this through the campus of Colorado State University. You can even see all the bike racks here on a college game day for football. These are full of bikes locked up. Fort Collins is a huge bike town, but if you don't need to take this on trails at all or store a whole lot of stuff, it does have a max storage capacity or max weight capacity of 300 pounds. The rear rack has a maximum weight of I think of like 30 or 45 pounds, so not a whole lot you can put back there, but you could put, you know, some side bags on it, saddle bags, and it would be totally fine. If you are someone that doesn't need to take an e-bike on trails or carry a bunch of stuff, just wants a nice, fun e-bike to take in the city, on even paved trails, go to class, go to work, this is an awesome bike. It's the best combination. It's not the lightest, but it's not much heavier than the lightest bike we've tried out. And frankly, the lightest bike we've tried out, I would not recommend, but this e-bike is a great combination of light, easy to use, fun to use, will get you where you're going. It does not have all the features in the world, but the features it does have are incredibly well thought out, incredibly well done, and I give this bike 2 thumbs up. It is a great, fun bike, as long as you just ride it in the city, which it's called the city, so that's what it's made for, right? If you have any questions or comment about this e-bike or any of the e-bike reviews we've done, please leave them below. We hope to see you again real soon.